evolution, because like good characters in good stories, movies, and novels, he evolves. You know, he's
Yes, he
not
does.
just one, there he is. You know, he really has a journey, to use a hackneyed word, but he does have a journey that he goes on. And my favorite bit in that whole film is when he has that moment of realization when he's out in the woods after leaving the house, and he's got Lilo's storybook with him. And do you remember what the storybook is of?
It's the ugly little duckling.
Ugly
yeah.
Duckling, right. Which is a Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale written in the, 1840s, I think?
Yes.
And that was a particular favorite story of Walt Disney's. So much so that, in fact, he made it as a short cartoon once in the 30s and once in 1941, after animation had gotten so much more sophisticated. And it won the Academy Award for Best Short Cartoon of the Year in 1941. So the fact that a story that has its roots in Disney history and that Walt personally is known to have very much liked is the pivotal plot point behind his evolution makes me all the more affectionate for Stitch, because it harkens his history back to ours and links it directly to Walt.
That is amazing, because the one thing I like about him, like you said, is he's multi-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just this is who he is.
Right.
He's on many different levels, and that change of his. It's sort of like for me when we were watching it for the first time, was that we all have that potential
Yes.
to better ourselves and to show, kind of move toward who we really are. We don't have to be what we're told we are.
Right. That is exactly
Huge
true.
fans of Ohana, the idea of Ohana. And
Excellent.
the family being made up of those people that you care about, as opposed to just
Right.
being limited
Luck
to
of the
those who
jaw,
you're
yeah,
genetically,
right.
yes,
Yep.
attached to. So
That is very true. Yeah, there's just not much to quibble about in this. There we go.
cute.
Yeah, the film of Lilo and Stitch too has a visual element that made me very happy. Oops, I think we're full. Oh, yep. Switch out here. Can you push me that? Thank you. There we go. Because in animation, in the earlier days, I should say, they used watercolor paints to paint the backgrounds.
Yes.
And watercolor, if you paint it all, is very much a transparent kind of medium. So you don't have a lot of super bright things unless you really lay it on. And you have a little more lyrical quality to a watercolor background. Think about, like, say, Geppetto's workshop in Pinocchio. Think how very mellow all those wood-carved toys and the light silhouettes and shadows against the burning candles are, and things like that. That's all watercolor. And as they got into the South American films, like Saludos Amigos and Three Caballeros, if you know those, watercolor but super vibrant and undiluted, those beautiful Mary Blair colors about, the watercolors of Brazil and things like that, gorgeous. But then after World War II, when they started going a little more sophisticated, trying to get different looks and things, and then my favorite film, Sleeping Beauty in '59, they got into different color palettes and tried to be a little more vibrant and a little more solid, a little more realistic in a way, and give these environments more weight and less ethereal like the watercolors look. So for Lilo and Stitch, what place on earth is more ethereal and paradise-like than Hawaii? So they went back and used the watercolors for
yes.
the backgrounds again, and they looked especially at the work of Mary Blair for the South American films as inspiration. And it has this really storybook, once upon a timey look that we hadn't seen in a Disney film in some time. So look at the watercolor backgrounds the next time you watch the film.
Definitely gonna
Take
pay
a peek at
attention
that.
to that. That's so cool.
There we go. Yeah, they were out of alien license, so we have to go with the dog license. So it's
It's okay. He's
Now-
one of our favorite Disney dogs. That's for
excellent.
certain.
There you go. Now, is this